Hi, good morning, BL.
Good morning. How have you been, Kumaran?
Very well, BL. I'm doing great, thank you. And how are things at your end?
Good, good. It's just the fact that we are all survivors, and my family just got COVID 2 weeks ago, but all have recovered. And I suppose I was the one that was left standing, and I suppose that was important. I could take care of my family then.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true. Well, BL, thank you so much for taking your time to join us today on Your Voice, Your Legacy. It is indeed a pleasure to have you on board. And we connected a few weeks ago when I was in Bali, and we had our first discussion.
That's right.
And then a couple of weeks later, we caught up in Singapore at Raffles Place, and we had such an amazing discussion with you.
Yeah.
So I really thank you for your time for this session. Yeah.
You're most welcome, Kumaran. You're most welcome.
Thank you. So as you know, Your Voice, Your Legacy is about us reaching out to industry pioneers, veterans, professionals, for them to share about the thoughts, values, and ideas about how they have been evolving into this insurance industry, their journey into the insurance industry, and of course, what they would like to share to the insurance community in totality. Right? And what pleasure do I have, and what better person than to talk to you, Mr. Boon Leong, right? So, BL, can you please share a bit more about yourself, please?
Well, I joined this industry about 27 years ago as a fresh graduate from NUS. I had my degree in economics and sociology, but my first 2 years prior to joining industry was actually, guess what, in the civil service. I was in Housing Development Board that was seconded to Ministry of Community Development, now known as MSF, Ministry of Social and Family Development. So that's how I started. And my journey in the insurance industry, like I said, spanned over 27 years, with 2 years in the general insurance as well. The parent company was then AIG, and of course I was with AIA then. Yeah. So I started in my career in AIA in corporate roles. I was in sales as a sales executive. Product development was an area that I went to, although I'm not actually trained, but I was very much keen in marketing. And I was on the product side, looking at products, dissecting products. And, Kumaran, in those early years, you simply got to rely on friends to get information on competitors' products. And we had a great time dissecting, understanding, analyzing. And I could still remember the time where I came out with a curriculum on my own. My boss was nice. He allowed me to come up with my own curriculum. And I came up with a curriculum called Product Comparison. And I could remember, I do it on a fortnight basis, that people just keep flocking back again. And I asked them, hey, I haven't got much things to share with you, and why are you coming back? They're just telling me they just wanted to know more about products, because I was one who shared them very candidly what was good about a product, what were the areas that probably other people would have better come up with a more competitive offering for them. But what's important is the customers need to know, so that the agents could then give them very good, informed, and professional advice on what products they should be looking at, not just AI products.
Right.
So from product development, I went on into agency management, where I looked into sales performance, looking into KRAs, and as probably FYC, FYP, and those things, But I realized that after a while that my passion, and that's where I'm very strong and very, very committed in what I say here, because passion is what drives me. And I realized that the playground that I have for myself was actually in the classroom. Going to training was my passion. And I began to realize that there was something I could do very well in. So I decided to stay on there. And my last place in my 27 years was in the area on agency management, leadership training. And that has always been today my passion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a little bit about my take in the industry. And in the process of it all, learned a lot about myself, Kumaran. Yeah, I learned about human relationships, but above all, I learned about leadership. Right. And the leadership that I've gleaned in AIA is not just applicable in the corporate world. It's applicable in my personal life, in my family life as well. Incidentally, Kumaran, I have got a wife, of course, just one, and 3 kids. Right. Yeah. My eldest is a teacher now, and my youngest is a trainee nurse. Yeah. So that's a little bit about myself.
Well, thank you so much for that, BL. I just wanted to touch on this point when you spoke about leadership, right?
Yeah.
And how it impacts both your personal and professional life. Just want to expand on that. In the current age, when we look at our financial consultants and agency leaders, there seems to be a bit of a mismatch. They either focus too much on their work and their agency and their clients, as opposed to that balance between their family and personal lives. How do you think you could sort of share with us about how they can strive that balance through leadership?
Well, I think this is a question which I honestly feel that this is the greatest challenge that leaders are facing today. The work imbalance that they have, and not only just that, they got no time for their personal development, like what you said as well. Either they are so interested in chasing the numbers, which is a short-term thing, or they are so much into it that the fact that they forgot about their family and, most importantly, their own personal development. Because Kumaran, I always believe that you cannot give what you do not have. And the way I look at it today is the fact that we, in many ways, I think the industry, we are blessed. Okay, I look at it because we are very much protected by all the regulations. And I tell you, Kumaran, it's really exciting and really, really shocked me. I wouldn't say shocked, but not surprised to see the fact that the MAS 306 that came out back in early 1990s had now got a revision, a total revamp in 2021, MAS 306 amendment in 2021. And Kumaran, when I look into all the changes that we've gone through, I tell you, wow, it really opens up my eyes, from qualifications to tier of agency to product, expenses, income, conduct, and everything that you have is really there. So my answer to your question is that, yes, it is definitely a stretch, and leaders have got to learn to balance between these three areas. Their personal development growth, the running of the agency, chasing after the numbers, not forgetting what makes them successful, in my opinion, is always a family.
Yes. Also well said. I think that's so important. And we resonate with that, right? As you know, I'm a second generation insurance person. Coming up from 35 years of the business where my mom was in, and me 15 years before I got into the insurance collective. I built a community, and I completely agree with you on the terms of how that balance, these pillars signify the success for the leaders or even the consultants. Now, just share with me very candidly, how did you get your kids involved in letting them know what you did? You're an insurance veteran, insurance pioneer, and you have 3 kids. Did you share with them about what you went through or important elements of your work life in the course of your conversations with them?
Yes, I do. And I normally, when I talk to them of it, I always glean with them the lessons that I have learned, and what are my challenges as well. I want to be transparent with them, to let them know that, Pa is going through a tough time sometimes, not always a bed of roses. And it's challenging, and especially when the issues that you have at a corporate level, it's really a lot of issues that you really have to handle with. And in the midst of it all, I will always, being a John C. Maxwell fan, in fact, I'm a speaker, coach, and a trainer of John C. Maxwell now, I always apply the lessons that I have in management, in leadership, and to apply it into the areas that I have in the area of work that I do, so that they will catch a glimpse of it all to know that leadership is something that is interesting, challenging, but not always a bed of roses.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And if we could expand a bit more about your affiliation with John C. Maxwell's leadership, could you share a bit more about that? Because, as financial consultants and agency leaders, there are lots of challenges that they face. Of course, let's take the professional context of it. And recruitment, attracting the right candidates into their agency, building an agency culture and ethos, which is very important for them to transmit to their new recruits. And then from there, of course, building their clientele base, whatnot. How does John C. Maxwell's principles that you have gone through and you have been very proficient with help these individuals?
That's a very, very good question, Kumara. I'm glad that you raised this because Maxwell's principle is always about people. It's always about valuing people over anything else. And as what John has mentioned, to concentrate on production is a very naive and a very parochial, if I may use the word, approach, because production itself is short-term. He always says, and I fully agree with him, that people are your greatest asset. The only asset they can really appreciate in the business world is people. So if leaders lose that focus and just concentrate on production, it's at best a short term. It's like a heroin jab into you and you get high for a while because production was good. The next question asks, what's next?
Right.
So that is how I look at it, people as the most important thing. And the leadership principles that John has taught me, over the months. And recently I got fully certified as his team member only in December last year. I decided to give myself that New Year present, that 2022 is the beginning of a fresh year. And boy, it's been a journey, reading his books, being online, listening to what he has taught, and, the notes that I've collected. Kumaran is already 4, what they call notebooks full now of his notes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm still learning, and I love learning every day.
That's amazing. And it's such a pleasure to see that an industry veteran has not stopped learning. And of course, a key part of it all is how you apply it to the insurance-centric field that you have become a part of and you continue to be a part of. So, BL, what do you do? I know you connect with training with the agency leaders and the agency force as well. So can you expand a bit more about that, or tell us more about what you do?
Oh, one way, Kumaran, that I believe that knowledge is not meant to be kept. My belief is that I'm a river, not a reservoir. Yeah. And with that on, what I do is that I find ways and means to add value to people every day. For example, if I read something online, or is it through the books I read, some principles, some nuggets of truth, I will always ask, whom can I share this with? And I look for people, and I have a group of people that has always been on my radar, and I either send them a picture of a snippet of what I've learned, a picture of basically what John C. Maxwell has taught me, or a podcast, or whatever it is. I'll do that every day. And at the same time, I always look for opportunities to share my knowledge with them. And that's where being a speaker, coach, and trainer gives me that leverage, give me that opportunity. Number one, I have got relationships with them. Number two, they know who am I. And thirdly, they know that, well, I hope so, that I've got a message that is valuable to them, that will bring forth value to them. So in short, Kumaran, I look to add value to people every day of my life.
That's so important. Nuggets of truth. I love that. That is something that we all look forward to. Yeah. And it's important when we in the insurance industry search for answers to how we can better do our business, better be professionals in the industry that we have chosen, or the industry has chosen us, 2 different thoughts to it. But also importantly, these nuggets of truth that we learn from our industry peers and colleagues can also be shared with our clients, which is a great thing. The connecting people, it is not just within the industry, it goes beyond the industry as well.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious, BL, there has to be a tipping point. You went from product side to agency management side, and then into empowering and enriching the life training. What was that tipping point that got you into this zone?
Well, again, Kumaran, it's basically discovering your passion, discovering what you're good at, what's your passion, and if passion meets your talent and your opportunity, boy, you don't work every day. You enjoy yourself every day, actually. Yeah. And the passion that I could give, I could exude, kind of adds, energy to the people. And that's what I like. You see their eyes spark up. You see that, aha, I got what you're trying to say. And that was a great nugget of truth. Oh, I'm just excited in trying to apply it in my workplace. I get excited, and I get goosebumps when the leaders are telling me that. And that's me. And I do not know any other way to put it to you, but it's passion. It's knowing what you're good at. what you're competent, what you're good at, and your passion.
Yeah,
And you'll find your sweet spot that way.
oh, that's perfect. That's perfectly said. It's an infectious sweet spot, filled with passion and integrity towards what this industry really means to all of us. I think that's important for us to do that.
Yes.
And you have really brought this to the forefront, BL, in terms of where you have looked through building your knowledge and repertoire and skills with the leadership programs with John C. Maxwell.
Yep.
And of course, when you train leaders, you train financial consultants, that is then transmitted. Now, when we talk about this nuggets of truth that you put out, right? How can the agency leaders for themselves, right, sort of come up with a schedule that they too can be this beacon of optimism and hope to their team, and thereby their team to their clients and policy owners?
Well, I think it all began with understanding about growing themselves. Leadership starts with the self. And that's always been Maxwell's principle of teaching. He always says, you start with yourself, and leaders have got to have that self-awareness, that they need to grow. And growth is the only thing, right, that is needed for their team to kind of progress. There's an African proverb that says, you want to go fast, you go alone. But you want to go far, you go together.
Yes.
And I think leaders need to be patient. Sometimes, Kumaran, I feel that leaders are pretty impatient because they are entrepreneurs, they are goal people, they want to get their goal, and they hope to achieve things fast. But you and I know leadership is a crock pot kind of a thing. It takes time, and my mom loves, we Chinese like crock pots, and my mom cooks crock pots porridge, and I absolutely love it because it's really that nice. Making you feeling hungry now, Kumaran?
Yes, definitely. Oh no, but that's a very interesting way to put it, right? If we look at the analogy of it all, everyone wants to stream towards the finish line. They take it in sprints. However, the marathon on its own, it requires so many people.
Yes.
To be part of the entire team to carry not just the leader forward, but everybody else forward.
Yes. Yeah.
Leadership can be a very lonely affair to a certain extent.
It is only lonely, when you got because of really something is wrong when you're lonely as a leader.
Yes.
You're probably not a leader, you're probably a hiker, a hiker. Because you got nobody behind you.
Yes.
A leader needs to have people behind you.
Correct.
Or else it's like we say, it's only a walk in the park.
Yeah, it's so true, BL. It gives great pleasure when success is not one person's initiative. It is when it's a team initiative and everyone shares the fruits of the labor as well.
Yes.
So my next question, BL, is to understand that, you working with agency leaders and the financial consultants, what are some of the challenges that they face today? And we are talking about post-pandemic or getting out of it, but still not entirely out of the pandemic. What are some challenges that they face these days?
Well, I think the challenges, let me just start with the agents first. Would that be all right? Yeah. I think agents is that the challenges, I think, in today in a pre and post-pandemic world right now is that, and even prior to that, actually, Kumaran, is the high expectations from customers. It's increasing every single year. Customers are getting more educated, they are more savvy, they know what's going on, and they basically are high touch and high tech people. You can't have we used to have high touch back in the early 90s. I call it the wild cowboy days, the Marlboro wild cowboy days. But that has given way because of technology progress, digital progress, and all that. High tech has come in. But I think the greatest challenge now is to really have a great balance of high tech and high touch, and needless to say, likability and trust will continue to be there. Professional trust, in particular, professional trust, the ability to be good at what they are doing, to be able to demonstrate competency and knowledge. So that is what I feel, for agents today, and again, like I said, with COVID, I think the world has never been the same again. And agents, if they are already not to it, which are honestly, I think, a bit slow now, but it's better slow than never, right?
Yes.
to really understand the meaning of a hybrid on face-to-face meetings and online meetings. They have got to learn how to be flexible and able to suit the client's needs based on all this.
Yeah.
So these are the things that I face. I feel that agents face.
So we are talking about for the agents to
Yeah.
adapt and traverse both high touch and high tech.
That's right. Yeah. And of course, to understand the meaning of trust, something which people take for granted actually.
Yes.
Yeah. What that means, I think is important. So in short, if you are new today and you have got no track record yet, I think that the best thing that a new agent should learn is to learn the art of connection. That's going to be key. Connection. Because your connection and your current performance of what you're doing needs to point to the way that people say that, yeah, there could be hope for this guy, that I could trust in him. That's going to be the key.
So true.
Yes, that's going to be the key. That's for agents. Now, for leaders, well, I always got passion on this topic and I can speak hours, but I don't think we don't have the luxury or the time to go through that. But just I feel that, again, like I said earlier on, quality recruitment is going to be the key. Managing expectations of a new breed of FSCs. You see, Kumaran, gone are the days whereby in the early 90s where money and incentives and trips are the only thing that's needed, to get them charged up, and they'll charge for the hill, so to speak. But not in today's context. With greater education, greater affluence, there are still poor people in Singapore, I don't deny that, but I would say majority of Singaporeans have got it quite good now. So their aspirations have changed. That sense of belonging that I hear the word always coming out. I want to have a sense of belonging.
Yes.
I want personal growth. I want growth that will take me on to where I could be, to my potential. I want to have a meaningful job, a job that allows me to have fulfillment and purpose in life. Those things, honestly, Kumaran, I did not hear of 30 years ago.
So true.
But now we hear them all over. And that's where leaders have got to wise up to understand the aspirations of the young people. Do not bark on the wrong tree, just money incentives. Oh, your commission, and the trips. Honestly, these things are necessary, but not appealing as much as before.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I say. And technical skills of the leaders of today have got to be sharpened. You can't rely on just relationship. And my favorite is, when it comes to selecting, throw mud on the wall and hope that it sticks. It doesn't work anymore. You need to beef up your technical skills on learning how to be a better planner, to be a visionary leader, to have the patience, to bring the people together with you over the line and not just yourself across the line. Technical skills on recruiting, selection, training your people, and performance management. I think that's really it. But above all, Kumaran, I must say that the art of leadership has got to be something that leaders got to really take it up. Because you and I know that the technical skills are probably simply just not enough. You need to have that heart, and really that software of being a leader. And being a leader, as you and I know, over my years, Kumaran, I realized that it is something it's never easy. It's always uphill. But again, what is worthwhile is not uphill. It's always uphill. And I always say that for leaders out here, you're listening to this, leaders, if you think that joining this industry is always a bed of roses and you make your quick bucks and make a lot of money fast, you may be in for a shock, because leadership is much, much more than that. It's a responsibility for the people. And your people at the end of the day has got to be your first love if you are ever into leadership. My experience tells me that if leaders have gone in just sort of quick bucks or that, they end up disappointed and they leave the industry actually.
It's so true. I think that is so valuable, BL, for leaders, current leaders, to think back and reshape the wheel to a certain extent of how they view leadership as, how they view people, their people in their organization,
And Kumaran, may I just also add that I think on the other hand, I'm also realistic to say that it's always a balance. The challenge is always a balance between people and production.
Mhm.
You know, you got to do like what John C. Maxwell say, do a leadership dance, you know. You go in front of them sometimes to set the direction. You stand beside them to understand what they're going through and to be behind, to be the wind of the sail that brings them forward. So that's the leadership dance, you know, that I've learned from John C. Maxwell about this.
That's amazing. It's like you take a front step and you them when the time is necessary.
Right.
The back
Right.
step when you need to push them forward and stand
Right.
by the side.
Right.
And you need to learn and grow together with them. It's so well said, BL. I think that is one of the most key and important things that that will resonate, not just with current leaders, but with future leaders as well. For them to look at the importance that their people are going to be the core of the success.
Yes.
And building a community is key. I think we all have come to realize the power of associations.
Yes.
The power of associating with a community of like-minded individuals. And it
Well
all
said.
starts with the recruitment, right? It all starts with the onset of it all. So rightfully said, back in the 90s and early 2000s, it's all about incentives, how much you can earn. The sky is the limit in this career. Now it has shifted into how can I grow more on a personal level? How can I have my work-life balance? I still love to travel. I still love to spend time with my family. Yet I love to be part of this community that encourages and teaches financial literacy.
That's right.
I love that. I think that is the most important thing.
Yeah, and one more thing, Kumaran, I must say that just as for agents, leaders need to grow. That's the key that I said, you know. And the question is that, you know, leaders must grow personally. And I just came across this thought, Kumaran, as I prepare for this interview session with you, that, you know, in an industry that is so highly regulated, it may be a blessing because, you know, it's well regulated and leaders seldom get into trouble because they're so well protected by the laws and all this thing. Unlike other countries, if you probably would know, in countries that are less developed, they don't have that kind of protection umbrella that leaders probably enjoy today. You know, it's so well regulated here. On the other hand, you must always remember that leaders should never hide behind just regulations. That as long as all these are okay, I am okay. You need to grow. You need to venture, take necessary risks, and then to grow. That's what I want to say about leadership.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that, BL. And as we wrap up today's session, would you kindly please share your words of wisdom to the audience in the Insurance Collective, not just in Singapore, but of course the region as well, about your ethos, something that these guys can take away?
Well,
I would. Upon?
Well, actually, I just thought the fact that perhaps I would just say that I think this industry is a beautiful industry. You know, you see people, you know, coming to this business, right reasons why they're in this business, and you can see insurance flourishing everywhere in the world today. Yeah, in fact, countries like Myanmar, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, they have caught the fire. They've caught the fire. You know, and the vision is burning brightly, and I believe that there is a great future for this industry. The last 50 years of this industry has been a really roller coaster ride, actually. You know, when I look into the changes that happened in 1990s until today, wow, I tell you, I could never imagine how we have come so far. We have indeed come so far. And the reason why the pioneers and for those who are still flourishing in this industry is because they have adapted to change.
Yes.
They will not allow change through, because if change will come, someone said, change is inevitable, growth is optional. And these people have taken the interest and with great determination and heart to grow, to say that, yeah, no matter how difficult it is, this too shall pass.
Yes.
You know, and everybody has taken on the grit, the determination to push on, and this is where we are today. So my parting shots is this, that embrace for more change, friends. Changes are coming. It's thicker, it's faster, it's more relentless, right? But remember, with our heart, with our courage, and with our will, we can make the industry, not just for Singapore, but for the rest of the world, a better one. Yeah, that's all I want to share with this one.
Wow, thank you so much for that, BL. I'm very certain that for me, it is very fulfilling to have done this session with you. It's such a pleasure and honor. And I'm certain that our industry peers and colleagues would love your nuggets of truth, and especially the way you have guided this entire session towards the importance of leadership and change. Embracing that change is going to be a paramount thing for them to consider and look into, and make that shift within the industry, which is very
the shift. Yep.
So thank you so much, BL, for your time. And I'm certainly looking forward to more sessions with you through Your Voice, Your Legacy with the Insurance Collective. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you soon again.
You're most welcome, Kumara. Have a good day.
Thank you. And you too.